Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. This is for July 15th. So, if you see smoke wafting across the screen, don't panic. The house is not on fire. I have incense burning, and I also have two significant smoky quartz crystals right beside me. So those of you who watch my channel know that I don't typically tend to do a lot of protective stuff around me because I am incredibly well protected, just as a matter of course. But today, I'm reading on the three Stooges, right? Steve Bannon, Mike Flynn, Roger Stone. So I thought a little bit of extra deflective protection would not be a bad idea. So on Thursday morning, one of the last attempts that Steve Bannon was trying to get his criminal trial delayed for refusing to comply with a subpoena. He was using the excuse that, his name's been coming up a lot in the January 6th committee, so he thinks maybe that could create bias. And the prosecutor said, yeah, actually, no, we're really not talking about you that much. And apparently there is a documentary coming out on him fairly soon, apparently. And he tried to use that, and that was a no-go too. So the reality is, I think it's on Monday, his criminal trial goes ahead. So earlier this week, there was the whole brouhaha about, I want to testify in front of the committee, but let's make it live because that's how I want to do it, and let's do this and let's do that. And it was like, yeah, I haven't heard the January 6th committee say one thing about, okay, yeah, let's go ahead with all of your little list of demands. In fact, I don't think that's going to happen. And this is the thing. I mean, even if he jumped up there today and testified the way they want him to, get the deposition on video like everybody else, that doesn't mitigate. I mean, it might mitigate, it might soften the charges against him. But the reality is the charges against him stem from just flat refusing to comply with the subpoena. The fact that he's a bully and egotistical and bombastic and just what he is, there are no laws against that. So really, he's just being, punished for not showing up the way everybody else has to show up when there's a subpoena. Let's start with him and see what the cards want to tell us, shall we? Okay, come on down. I have a question. Tell me about Bannon. Tell me about Bannon. Tell me about Bannon. Here we go. Okay. So now this is the thing about Steve Bannon. He, with the double shirts and the long hair and the scruffy beard deal, he wants to appeal to a certain part of the population, to a certain personality type. But in actual reality, he's not part of them. I mean, those people who he's trying to appeal to, they do not have friends who have yachts. Okay, granted, he got arrested on the yacht, but that's not the point. The point is, the average person doesn't have friends who own yachts. The average person doesn't hobnob with the kinds of people that he is capable of hobnobbing with, whether we approve of them or like them or whatever we think of them. That's just the reality. So to try to pass off this sort of illusion, one has to understand that's really, really what it's all about. So this is the thing about Bannon. Not only does he have money behind him, okay, like let's just not forget that. But he really thought that his bravado and his bluster and his, running around the world trying to ignite people's passions and trying to sort of, bring them all under his wing. And make no mistake, it's what he wants. Okay, he really is that kind of personality who is out to destroy established governments. And why that is, I don't know. Maybe it's his personality, I don't know. But he is that person, that would just kick over a garbage can because it's there. Okay, like he's just that person who's out to destroy. But what he's facing now is very different. What he's facing now is realizing that he may very well have to abandon and walk away from that sort of attitude and image and bravado, because it's not going to get him very far in a court of law. All right. And that's what he's up against. And I don't remember anymore what kind of a jail sentence he could actually be facing, but I believe it's somewhere around 20 years. So this is not, a pay a fine and get out of jail free. This is serious what he has done. So, it's interesting. Look at all the cups around him, right? He's got the King of Cups, he's got the Nine of Cups, he's got the Ace of Cups. So again, this is somebody who almost like thrives on riling up people's emotions, of, appearing very passionate. Personally, I think that a lot of that is just a facade. It is a persona. And whether he believes that persona or not, I don't know. But whatever it is, it has gotten him this far. Unfortunately, I do not believe it's going to take him much farther. Okay, it really does feel like his luck is running out. Let's not forget, this is the same guy that scammed millions of dollars from Americans who felt that it was really important to build a wall. And there was not, 1 inch of wall built. He just absorbed the money. And of course, Trump pardoned him for that. So, we can, because Trump pardoned him and he accepted the pardon, we can now say he was guilty of what he did, because that's one of the things that happens, of course, when you accept a pardon. You acknowledge your wrongdoing. So, whatever he kind of thought, whatever game he thought he was playing, whatever nonsense he was trying to use to put off. This was the guy who, when this originally happened, when he originally got, I guess, arrested for the, not showing up to a subpoena, he was the one who was going to impeach everybody. Who the hell is he? First of all, he has no authority to impeach anybody. But you know what I mean? He's just that guy. And honestly, his luck is running out. So there is a sense with him, again, that he really was hoping to ride out the time, to delay. Well, the judge said, okay, you know what? That's actually going to stop now. We're not delaying nothing, no more. You came in here, what was it, on Monday, with a bunch of ridiculous excuses about um, God only knows what. All of those were denied. He wasn't getting anything that he had hoped to get because he's just not entitled to it. And his reasons and excuses were exactly that, they were excuses, and that didn't hold any water. So now he's sort of looking at the situation and kind of going, uh oh, I could be like in some serious trouble here. Because apparently my ability to spin and to talk around it and to, kind of come at people aggressively, wow, that doesn't appear to be working with the court of law. So listen, you've got both the 7 and the 8 of Pentacles side by side, right? So you're talking about some rather significant assessing he is doing. And I think what he's discovering is that, oops, I actually am not, this is not working to my benefit. This is not where I wanted to be or where I thought I could be. And why is that? Because I don't know what he thought. Maybe he thought that, because of course, this is one of my cards for Trump. And maybe he thought that somehow there would be protection there. And what was that nonsense about Monday about, Trump says he's withdrawing or whatever, or never was any blockage to Bannon testifying. And he said that was Bannon's excuse, right? It was like privileged information. He couldn't share what he talked about with the president. The president goes, yeah, sure you can. I don't care. Because of course he just got thrown under the bus by Trump, right? That's what happens. But for whatever reason, up until he really still believed that Trump could somehow kind of help him get out of the trouble he was in. And of course that doesn't happen. So, okay, so this is the thing. So all of his illusions, all of his kind of crazy talk, all of that, unfortunately, is now going to be judged. And it doesn't look like it's going to go very well for him. Indeed, it really doesn't look like it's going to go very well for Steve Bannon. So I suspect he's going to be found guilty, and I would go so far as to say there is probably a jail sentence. It's not going to be 20 years, but it is certainly going to be enough to put a hitch in his giddy up. And that's good news. Like, I'm sorry. You got these people going around the world, like scamming people all over the place. I mean, after he left the Trump administration, right, he went to Rome, I think it was. And he was renting like a monastery because he was literally trying to create a kind of a revolution, right? And it was sort of almost going to be like kind of a training place. But the reality was he got booted out of there because he didn't pay the rent. Honestly. Let's look at Michael Flynn. So his name has been coming up a little bit in the January 6th hearings, particularly in relation to that insane meeting that happened on December 18th and into the 19th. He is the one, of course, that felt it very important that Trump call in the military and declare martial law. And, he just had all of these crazy, insane reasons. How come Trump should just stay in office? And, it's like the whole lot of them were infected with a kind of delusional mindset where even people like Rudy Giuliani should darn well have known better, that you just can't decide that, someone's going to stay in office, and that's how it is. But they all sort of got sucked into that vortex. So let's take a look at Mike Flynn. Of course, as we know, it was one of the things that Obama had actually told Trump was to be very careful about Mike Flynn. There was a reason that Mike Flynn had been either discharged or fired or whatever it is from the position he was in under Obama. So let's take a look at Flynn and see what his story is. Let's look at it this way. Mike Flynn trajectory, Mike Flynn trajectory, Mike Flynn trajectory. We're looking at this one because it stayed on the bottom. Sorry. Shouldn't laugh at other people's misfortune, but you know, all right. Whatever it was that happened in Mike Flynn's past, whatever it was that caused him to take that sharp turn, it impacted his emotions. It impacted the way he perceived situations, the government, the world, okay? And he literally became somebody who, as near as I got it figured, was, you know, sort of up there in the, I think it was the Army, but I'm not sure, Navy, one of the armed forces. He held a respected position. But whatever it was that sort of flipped in the past really turned him into somebody who was, frankly, sort of obsessed with it started out with him sort of being willing to do whatever he had to do for money, okay? Hence the whole Turkey involvement with Turkey and the agent acting as an unregistered agent for Turkey, et cetera, et cetera. The thing about Mike Flynn is that it appears as if he has fallen deeper into the crazy, for lack of a better way to say it. Back in time, a few years ago, when he pled guilty to lying to the FBI in an investigation, he was actually, there was still some sort of clarity left in the way he viewed things. At the point in time where he reversed that and got the more kind of nutty lawyers and said, you know, whatever he said about why he pled guilty, but it wasn't true and he wasn't guilty, that there seemed to be the inflection point where he kind of like sunk deeper than he had ever been before. And I don't believe he's coming out of that, honestly. So there's a sort of, this is like, okay, so I'm in his energy, and this is what it is. It's like, it doesn't matter what I do now because Trump is going to get reelected, and when he gets reelected, he is going to take care of me. It doesn't matter what I do now because Trump is going to be able to reverse it when he once again is president. And that's his belief. It really, I'm sorry, it is just as simple as that. He really believes that he's going to be saved, you know, at the 10th hour or whatever that is, the 11th hour, I guess it is, because somehow Trump is going to have the authority or the power to be able to do that. And the reality is that that time for Trump is over. And he is not steering himself into clear water. He, in fact, is creating a much heavier burden that he is going to end up carrying. He's going to find that his pathway forward starts to become really restricted. So, the chariot is sort of about moving forward, but I'm reading it in its opposite. I'm reading it as his path forward is going to start becoming encumbered. It's going to be sluggish. He's actually not going to be able to move forward, whether he thinks it's with legal remedy or whatever else he has rolling around in that brain of his. It very much looks like, again, justice is coming for him. There's going to be that sense of, you just literally cannot get away with all of this crazy stuff, and acting like there is no ramifications, no consequences. Right now, though, make no mistake, he is in a kind of scary zone where even now, in fact, maybe even more so now, he is really, really, really entrenched in conspiracy theories. He is really, really entrenched in a belief structure that is completely subjective. I almost want to say that when it comes to him, and again, there's Trump. Trump's going to protect me. Trump is not going to protect you, buddy. I got news for you. He's lost any connection with objective reality, and now what appears to be motivating him, aside from this strange little space that he lives in, is money. So a lot of times when he's showing up at these, whatever it is he shows up at, these little rallies or whatever it is, a lot of times he's doing it because it's part of how he keeps, afloat. But he also has bad fortune coming his way. So I have to tell you, I'm not sure what may or may not be pending with him in terms of a legal situation, but whatever it is, he's going to fall. This is not going to go well for him, and he is going to feel the he's going to feel justice coming for him. And like I say, he's in this really strange space. And, as you all know, I jump into Trump all the time, but man, this guy is even a little bit more whack than that. Okay, let's look at Roger Stone. Roger Stone with the great big tattoo on his back of Nixon, who is his hero. Roger Stone, who believes that under it all, he is the mastermind, and people like Trump are kind of his puppets. He is the one with the savvy. He is the one that gets things done. Those people just listen to him because he's really, really good at being a trickster, at dirty tricks. And honestly, this is his energy. I'm in his energy, and it is all ego. Oh my God, it is, I'm the best. You can't bring me down. Everything I say and do is just the perfect right thing to do. There's going to be more information coming out about. There's going to be more coming out about Mike Flynn, but there's going to be more information coming out about Roger Stone and what went on in the war room at that hotel. Before the January 6th insurrection. And he may very well find himself in a place where he becomes really wrapped up in the seditious conspiracy charges. Tell me about Stone. Tell me about Stone. Tell me about Stone. So he proudly admits that he is part of the Proud Boys. Again, this is somebody who sees himself as he is ego. He is really, really all ego. What matters to him is his presentation, how he looks, how he is received, how he is treated. Those things that engage the emotions, those things that make you feel important and loved or respected or something. That's where he's coming from. That's where he's about. And the fact that he is like broke, in some ways, in a crazy way, he almost carries that as a badge of honor. Like, look how much I have sacrificed for the greater good, for the cause. There is a viciousness to him that I don't think is readily apparent when you just look at him or you exchange a few words with him. But there is a real cutthroat sort of attitude with him. And whatever he may have been 40 years ago when he was a political consultant, what he is now is far more dangerous because he's another one. What is it with these people? All three guys have no ability to look at the real consequences of their actions. They all somehow have deluded themselves into thinking that what is in front of them is not truth and what they believe is truth. And so, again, you've got this person who he's highly motivated to sort of accomplish what he wants to accomplish. And don't misunderstand. I think all along he had some clarity about what kind of an idiot Trump was, but Trump to him was also a useful puppet, right? There's, in a lot of ways, Donald was a puppet to many, many masters. And, he was a puppet to, the guy from Russia. He was a puppet to the Republican Party, to Mitch McConnell, to on and on and on and on. Unfortunately, what happened with some of these people is while they perceived him as a puppet, what they didn't realize, and what Roger Stone did not realize, is that that puppet was uncontrollable. But with Roger, it's definitely that energy of looking for the person who could push forward his agenda, what he wanted, the way he thought things should be. And let's not forget, he absolutely idolized Nixon. So that behavior is exactly what he thought was the appropriate behavior for a president. He He's another one who's like really, really, it's really important to him that he has this legacy and that, he is viewed in a certain way historically, and that's not going to happen, but that is what motivates him. Aside from this deep, deep rooted belief of the way certain people in high government positions should be able to behave with impunity. It's not surprising that the magician would show up, right? The trickster of the tarot deck in a reading for this particular trickster. And as I said, there's a cutthroat energy around him. There is nothing he will not, there is no low enough. And that's just the harsh reality of Roger Stone. He is so wrapped up in his world that he actually doesn't see. He doesn't actually have ability to be contemplative or quiet or internal. For him, it is all about it's all about creating a legacy and enforcing or bringing into force the kind of government that he believes. And the reality right now is he's looking at the situation, he's going, okay, well, the best we've got is Trump. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised. Thank you for that insight. Do not be surprised if, as you go forward towards 2024, unless he's in jail, I don't know what charges against him are coming, but I think some really are, and he's going to be in trouble. Barring that, the next Republican who looks like they are going to be the Republicans' nominee for president, don't be surprised if he all of a sudden is circling that bandwagon. And God help all of you if it's DeSantis. He is not able to see that in many ways there is no kind of abundance left for him. There is no growth potential. There is no expansion. Everything is contracting. Everything is spoiling. Everything is disintegrating. And he doesn't see it. He simply refuses to see it. Because he's another one that's just trapped in this kind of crazy space that he lives in. Yeah. He just lives in this alternate reality. I'm sorry. He right now is in a space where, yeah, you know what? Like, listen, he's a little scared because stuff is coming out, January 6th committee hearings that he didn't think they had, or, he didn't think they would present in a way that really made him look sort of bad. But the other side of it is, make no mistake, he's getting off on that a little bit because it makes him feel like he was in the center of a really important event. And listen, everybody says January 6th is going to go down in history. And in fact, it is. And I think for Roger Stone, it doesn't matter what side of history he's on, as long as his name is attached to the history. That's what he cares about. He's in for a rough ride. Things are not going to go the way he hopes. Whatever fundraising he tries, that's not going to work out so well for him. He has become a caricature of his own self, and unfortunately, caricature or not, he's got, you know, the law coming after him, right? And that's just how it's going to be. Okay. Here. Okay, so there you have it for this reading. It's Friday. Have a good weekend. Take some time, enjoy, do something special just for yourself to help you, kind of regroup, etc., etc. And I think it's coming Thursday in the evening. At this point is the next hearing, and that promises to be incredibly interesting. And so we'll, keep our eyes on that. And before I go, I just want to once again tell you how much I appreciate the support. It's incredible, and I'm very grateful. Until next time, take care, be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.